This is Ben Cockayne, and I'm going to give you my best 13 that I've played with throughout my career. And just for the record on this one, it's the 13 that had the most influence in those positions when I played in those teams. So coming in at fullback, we've got Richie Mathers, the Screaming Eagle. Funny guy off the field is Richie. And Richie, it's interesting with Richie because he was one of them players that I didn't really like before I knew him. And players probably all get that feeling where, you know, there's a particular player you think that they're this or that, and that was me what I thought of Richie. But he's actually one of the best blokes I've met. And in terms of his organisation and how dominant he was at the back, I thought it was superb. So Richie would be my fullback. Coming in at number 2 would be Peter Fox, Pistol Pete. Used to carry the ball like a steam train. We had some great times at Wakefield and Hull KR together with Foxy. Fox is actually working offshore now on wind turbines and stuff like that, so he's got a really good job as Pete. And coming in at number 3 was Dean Collis. Dean Collis, probably the most idle man I've ever come across in training. Never really liked training, always moaning about the cold, never looked happy, but he was one of the most skillful and natural right centres that I've seen. I'd put him up there, obviously not to the extent of a Jamie Lyon or Matt Gidley, but he got that kind of ability about him where he could skip out and flick the ball and that kind of stuff. So Dean Collis will be my right centre. The left centre would be Paul Sykes. Now, when I played at Wakefield, Sykes, he played majority of the time he played standoff, but he won us so many games that year with a drop goal or a conversion that Sykes, he has to go in there. I think he had a massive effect on us finishing the top 8 in 2013, I think it was, with Wakefield. So Sykes will be my left centre. The left wing would be Ken Seo, an absolute beast of a bloke. Played here with him at Rovers a couple of years ago, and I've not seen too many blokes carry the ball like him from backfield. So Ken Seo would be my number 5 left wing. At standoff, we've got Tim Smith. Tuffy, what a character he was. Again, I had some great times with Tuffy. What they say about him, his reputation as a wild card off the field is true. I can confirm. I've had many a great times with Tuffy, but on the field he was just an absolute general in that 2 seasons I had at Wakefield. Unbelievable player and a great guy to have around. Coming in at number 7, the scrum half, Michael Dobson. Dobbo just organised everything. You know, everything was done. He screamed at his back rowers, just aggressive with his talk and how he dominated players around him to get them in place, and he was a very good dictator at halfback, Michael Dobson. So as first prop will be Michael Vella. I think it would be fair to say in his first Super League season, Vella pretty much carried the forward pack in 2007 that we had when we first got promoted to Super League. So really pleased to put Vella in there. He was a strange character off the field, got some weird dress sense and some interesting banter, but what a player he was. Coming in at number 9, we've got Paulie Ayton. The reason I put Paulie Ayton there is when we were at Wakefield, he used to just go around bending folk every game. You know, he'd be putting a shot on. One of the nicest blokes you would meet off the field. Really intelligent, thoughtful guy, but he could whack him. Paulie Ayton, the PNG international. So Paulie would be my hooker. Coming in at number 10 would be Kyle Amor. Again at Wakefield, we had a superb couple of years, and Kyle Amor were a part of the pack. And you know, for me, we're one of the best. Got the best footwork for a forward, you know, footwork at the line, and he used to find his front very often and get us a quick play of the ball. So Kyle Amor had a great year, and he would be my second prop forward. In the back row, the dynamic duo of Clint Newton and Ben Galea. Those two guys, I think they both got in the Super League Dream Team back in 2000 and I don't know if it was 9 or 10, somewhere around there, and those two were awesome. Benny Galea, great left foot step, and Clint Newton just used to run great lines, but albeit only in good ball. He would never be too keen to take a carry out of yardage, but those two together in the back row through those years they were at Hull KR were phenomenal. And at 13, who should probably have a number 8 on these days, is my good mate Scott Morrell. Again, Scotty, just full of enthusiasm, absolutely loved whacking people, a bit of a gobby guy on the field as well, always annoying the opposition. He's annoyed me a number of occasions since I've played him, but he was a guy that put his heart and soul into everything. But like I said, he should probably be wearing number 8 these days. So that's my 13. coming to the back end of your career, or certainly when your career comes to an end, I think it's very important that you've got something lined up or you've got something else going on. We hear so much these days now about the mental health side of sport, and I think a lot of that is to do with the pressures of coming to the back end of your career or coming out of your career with a lack of ideas or a lack of maybe education or a trade or something like that. So I think it's majorly important, and I think it's something that players should start planning for at the beginning of the career, really. 2012 I started away from sport, with business away from sport, and the conscious behind it for me doing it is because 2011 was the year I got in trouble again. I'd been a nuisance again, and I kind of got forced into doing things away from sport. So I did a personal training certificate, I got a level 3 personal training qualification, and also coming into 2012 when I signed at Wakefield, I came across a nutrition company which interested me, and it fit in well with the personal training stuff alongside of rugby as well, so it was great, and that's how I got involved. And since then I've never really looked back. I've always kept a focus away from sport, which I think it's set me up for where I am today, really. The playing side, obviously, which is at York, I'm still semi-pro at York, which I'm really enjoying, and I always tell people this when they ask me, that the transition from full-time to part-time has been made so much easier with York, because the facilities at York St John are outstanding. The coaching staff and the methods that they use are very forward-thinking. They're not kind of old school. So it's made that transition a lot easier for me. I'm doing 2 days a week here at Hull KR. That's why I'm in my lovely attire. I'm not going to court, as some people might be wondering, but no, I've got 2 days a week at Rovers, which I really enjoy. I'm reconnecting with old sponsors and looking after current sponsors and things like that. So it just gives me an opportunity to stay in touch with Hull KR, which is obviously the club that I love and has given me so much. And also, I think I can bring some great value to the club in terms of taking care of the people that care about the club, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the position I'm in at the moment. And also we've got the wine business. Me and my wife have got a wine business aside, but we're doing a spare time, what I call a spare time income, which is great. So we do that probably once or twice a week. We'll do maybe a wine tasting or a wine social, but I'm always networking and speaking to people about that particular business as well. I think the great thing from Rovers' point of view and York's point of view is obviously it gives a great partnership for both clubs, in my opinion, because obviously York can benefit from some great players coming down, and Hull KR can benefit from getting players who may be coming back from injury or on the fringe, getting them some game time. But in terms of the relationship, where I'm concerned, I'll probably keep my eye out for sure. There's a lot of gems in the lower leagues what probably go unnoticed. I know York have produced a few in recent years. Chris Brinning's one that comes to mind straight away. So yeah, I'm sure there's some potential in that League One, and I'll be keeping my eye out and maybe feeding back to Webbo and Sheensy. What happens beyond this year in terms of playing, I don't know. I said that I was going to retire last year, and I don't know why. I've had this conversation a number of times as well. I said I was going to retire, and I don't know why, because my body feels great. Probably not as effective as I used to be as a player, but I'm probably a little bit more experienced, without a doubt, but I've still got the hunger and desire to keep playing. So I'll continue doing so as long as I can, and hopefully make millions out of the wine business as well.